You are sitting in a meeting. The room is full of intelligent, capable people. They are discussing a project. They are using technical terms. They seem so confident. They seem to know exactly what they are doing. You nod your head, you smile, you take notes, you add a comment, and everyone agrees with you. But inside your chest, your heart is hammering against your ribs. There's a cold voice in the back of your head whispering a terrifying secret. It says, they are going to find out. It says, you don't belong here. You tricked them. You are not as smart as they think you are. You're just lucky. And any moment now, the door is going to open and someone is going to walk in and expose you for the fraud you really are. You feel like a spy in your own life. You feel like a child wearing an adult suit, desperately hoping nobody notices the fit is wrong. This feeling haunts you when you get the promotion. It haunts you when you pass the exam. It haunts you when someone gives you a compliment. Instead of feeling pride, you feel relief. You think, phew, I fooled them again. I survived another day. You are successful. You are competent. You have the credentials, but you cannot internalize your own success. It slides off you like water off glass. We have a name for this silent torture. We call it Imposter Syndrome. It is the specific anxiety of the high achiever. It is the paradox that the more you know, the more you feel like you know nothing. You might look at successful people, CEOs, artists, doctors, and think they are full of confidence, but studies suggest that 70% of people will experience this feeling in their lifetime. Even Einstein, towards the end of his life, confessed to a friend that he felt like an involuntary swindler. He felt that his work didn't deserve the attention it got. If Einstein felt like a fake, what hope is there for the rest of us? In this video, we are going to dissect the psychology of the imposter. We are going to look at why your brain refuses to accept your own competence. We are going to explore the concept of pluralistic ignorance. And finally, we are going to give you the psychological tools to kill the fraud police in your head so you can finally own your achievements. To understand why you feel like a fake, we first have to understand who usually gets this condition. It was first identified in the 1970s by psychologists Pauline, Clance, and Suzanne Imes. They were studying high-achieving women. These were women with PhDs, women who ran companies, women who were objectively brilliant. And yet, these women believed they were not bright. They believed they had fooled the admissions boards. They believed their success was due to luck, or charm, or knowing the right people. Since then, research has shown that this affects men and women equally, but it hits a specific type of person the hardest. It hits the perfectionist. If you set your standards impossibly high, then anything short of perfection feels like failure. If you get 99% on a test, you don't celebrate the 99. You obsess over the 1% you got wrong. You think, if I were truly smart, I would have gotten 100%. This creates a warped reality. You see your own internal struggle. You know how hard you had to work. You know the doubts you had at 3 in the morning. You know the mistakes you almost made. But when you look at other people, you only see their highlight reel. You see their polished presentation. You see their confident smile. You see their awards. You do not see their doubts. You do not see their struggle. Sociologists call this pluralistic ignorance. It is a situation where a majority of group members privately reject a norm, but incorrectly assume that most others accept it and therefore go along with it. In simple terms, everyone in the room feels like a fraud, but because nobody is talking about it, everyone thinks they are the only one. You look around the boardroom and think, wow, everyone here is a genius except me. Meanwhile, The person next to you is looking at you, thinking, "Wow, she is so composed. I am a nervous wreck compared to her." We compare our chaotic insides with other people's curated outsides, and in that comparison, we always lose. But there is another layer to this, a layer that goes back to how we perceive intelligence itself. Many of us were raised with the fixed mindset. We were told that intelligence is a talent. You are either born smart or you are not. You are either a natural or you are average. If you believe that success should be easy for smart people, then the moment you have to struggle, the moment you have to work hard, you assume it means you aren't smart. You think, if I were a real genius, this wouldn't be difficult. Since I am struggling, I must be a fraud. You view effort as evidence of incompetence. But this is a lie. Effort is not what you do when you are not smart. Effort is how you get smart. The imposter syndrome thrives in the gap between your reality and your expectations. You expect to feel confident before you do the work, but confidence is the result of doing the work, not the prerequisite. We wait for a feeling of permission that never comes. We wait for someone to tap us on the shoulder and say, "You are officially ready. You are an official expert." But the world doesn't hand out certificates of readiness. You just have to start. Let us go deeper into the mechanism of the imposter cycle, because it is a cycle. It is a loop that feeds itself. It usually starts with a task, a new project, a new job, a public speech. Immediately, the anxiety kicks in, the fear of being exposed. To cope with this fear, the imposter usually does one of two things. Mechanism 1 is over-preparation. You work 3 times harder than necessary. You obsess over every detail. You stay late. You memorize the script. And when you succeed, when the project goes well, you don't feel pride, you feel relief. And then you discount the success. You say to yourself, "Well, I only succeeded because I worked myself to death. I'm not actually good at this. I just brute forced it." The next time a task comes up, you have to over-prepare again because you believe that is the only thing saving you from exposure. Mechanism 2 is procrastination. You are so afraid of being judged that you put the work off until the very last second. Then you rush to finish it in a panic. And when you succeed, when you pull it off, you discount the success again. You say, "Well, I just got lucky. I pulled an all-nighter and fooled them. Next time, my luck will run out." In both cases, the success never lands. It never sinks into your identity. You view your achievements as external things that happened to you, not internal things that were created by you. This leads to a psychological state called the Superhuman Complex. The imposter believes they must be the very best in every single role. They must be the perfect employee, the perfect parent, the perfect partner, and the perfect friend. If they fail in any area, they feel like they have failed in every area. They have difficulty delegating. They have difficulty asking for help. Why? Because asking for help admits that you don't know something, and to the imposter, not knowing something is the same as being stupid. They live in terror of the question they cannot answer. Imagine a professor standing in front of a class. A student asks a question. The professor doesn't know the answer. A confident person says, "That is a great question. I don't know the answer, but I will find out." The imposter freezes. The imposter thinks, If I say I don't know, they will realize I shouldn't be a professor. They will realize I am a fake. So they make something up, or they deflect. The fear of the gap in their knowledge controls them. This creates a fragile existence. When you base your self-worth on knowing everything and never making mistakes, you are building a house on sand, because eventually you will make a mistake. Eventually you will not know the answer. And when that happens, the imposter doesn't just feel like they made an error, they feel like they are an error. The shame is absolute. This is why imposter syndrome often leads to burnout. You are running a race where the finish line keeps moving. You are constantly trying to prove your worth, but you are trying to prove it to a judge and jury that only exist in your own head. Another key component is the attribution error. When good things happen, the imposter attributes it to external factors. It was an easy project. The team helped me. They were just being nice. When bad things happen, the imposter attributes it to internal factors. I am stupid. I am lazy. I am untalented. This is a rigged game. You cannot win. If you succeed, it's luck. If you fail, it's you. This mental filter blocks out all positive data. You could have a folder full of awards, and your brain will find a way to explain why none of them count. Oh, that award? There weren't many applicants that year. Oh, that promotion? My boss just likes me personally. You are a lawyer arguing a case against yourself, and you are winning.
So, how do we stop the trial? How do we fire the fraud police? The cure for imposter syndrome is not more success. You cannot achieve your way out of this. If you become CEO, you will just feel like a fake CEO. The cure is a fundamental shift in how you view competence. Tool number 1, separate feelings from facts. You must realize that feeling like a fraud does not mean you are a fraud. Feelings are not facts. Feelings are just weather. When the anxiety hits, when the voice says you don't belong here, do not fight it. Just label it. Say, there is my imposter syndrome again. It is trying to protect me from failure. And then look at the facts. Write down the evidence. What did you actually do? What skills did you actually use? What results did you actually get? Keep a hype file. This is a physical or digital folder where you keep every compliment, every positive email, every award, and every success. When the imposter voice gets loud, open the file. Force your brain to look at the data. It is hard to argue that you are incompetent when you're staring at 5 years of successful project reviews. Tool number 2, reframe I don't know. You must give up the desire to be the natural genius. True confidence is not knowing everything. True confidence is knowing that you can figure it out. Change your definition of competence. Competence is not instant perfection. Competence is the ability to learn. When you don't know an answer, do not panic. Reframe it. Instead of thinking, I am stupid, think, I am about to learn something new. Be the learner, not the expert. The expert is fragile. If the expert is wrong, their identity shatters. The learner is anti-fragile. If the learner is wrong, they just get better. Tool number 3, break the silence. Imposter syndrome dies in the light. It thrives in secrecy. The most powerful thing you can do is talk about it. Find a mentor or a peer you trust and say, honestly, I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing on this project. You will be shocked by what happens. 90% of the time, they will laugh and say, oh my God, me too. I was just panicking about the exact same thing. The moment you realize that other people feel the same way, the pluralistic ignorance dissolves. You realize you are not alone on an island. You are all in the same boat. Tool number 4. Visualize success, but visualize the struggle too. Many people tell you to visualize the perfect outcome. This can actually make imposter syndrome worse because reality is never perfect. Instead, visualize yourself struggling and then handling it. Visualize yourself getting a tough question and calmly finding the answer. Visualize yourself making a mistake and fixing it without falling apart. This builds self-efficacy. It teaches your brain that you don't need to be perfect to be safe. You just need to be resilient. Tool number 5. Adopt the good enough standard. Perfectionism is a shield. We think if we are perfect, nobody can hurt us. But perfectionism is actually a heavy armor that crushes you. Aim for B+ work. I know this sounds terrifying to a high achiever, but B+ work is usually excellent. And B+ work gets finished. B+ work gets shipped. When you allow yourself to be imperfect, you realize that the world does not end. The sky does not fall. People still like you. Your work still has value. You realize that your value does not come from being flawless. It comes from being present. It comes from your unique perspective. You are not a fraud. You are a work in progress, and so is everyone else. Even the people you admire the most are just figuring it out as they go along. We are all just improvising. The feeling of being an imposter is actually a sign of growth. If you never feel like an imposter, it means you are not stretching yourself. It means you are staying in your comfort zone. The only people who never feel like frauds are the ones who aren't doing anything important. So, when that fear rises up in your throat, welcome it. It means you are entering new territory. It means you are challenging yourself. It means you are awake. Do not let the fear of being found out stop you from speaking up. Do not let it stop you from applying for the job. Do not let it stop you from creating art. The world does not need your perfection. It needs your contribution. You have a voice. You have a mind. You have a perspective that no one else has. To hide it because you are afraid of not being good enough is a tragedy. Step into the arena. Take the mask off and let yourself be seen. Now, we have talked about the psychological trap of feeling fake, but there is a deeper question here. If we are not our achievements and we are not our social roles, then who are we? To answer that, we have to look at the philosopher who stripped away every illusion humanity ever had, a man who stared into the abyss until the abyss stared back. If you want to understand the true source of your power and identity, click the video appearing on your screen now about Friedrich Nietzsche, Why God is Dead is Misunderstood. I will see you there.